This was a perfectly good fit. Somebody put it in the chuck and they didn't tighten it enough. Not only did it destroy the shank of the Forstner bit, but it dug into the chuck as well. As you can see what happened, it just kept pushing, and then the chuck had to go to maintenance for their work. If you don't have the strength to tighten these chucks, please ask somebody. Don't be embarrassed. Just say, can you please tighten this for me? I no longer have the strength. Everybody understands that. We're all there. Some of us are there. Some of us will be there. Please. Otherwise, these things are very expensive, and this one is basically trash at this point. Nice sharp bit, but can't be used anymore. Next thing, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Mitre gauges. Okay, all the machines have slots for Mitre gauges, the sanders, the bandsaws, the table saws. This is the most common type of Mitre gauge. Okay, we have several different styles around the shop. The one thing they have in common is that this marking down here, they're all inaccurate. That's the one thing they have in common. Some of these have a T-slot or a T-clip here, and some do not. Some machinery we have does have a slot for the T-clip, like the table saw, but some of the band saws and the sanders do not. So if you're going to pick up one you're going to use the right one. Okay, how you can set this up. Okay, we have a little device here called a Mitre set. 2 pins with a tapered bottom. If you lose these pins, this is nothing more than a hunk of aluminum. Set the angle you want. Can you see from there, Mike?
Yeah.
Take the Mitre, put it right in here, loosen it up, put it up against the 2 pins, and tighten it up, and you've got the angle you need. In this case, it's 0, 0. If I wanted an angle to, let's say, cut 16 segments, that now gives me 16. My angle is all set. It's that simple. Okay. Though this will work with the Incra, do not use it with the Incra because the Incra is much too long and you won't get a good accurate fit on it. I'll show you how to set the Incra up in just a moment. This aluminum device is a carpenter square, and it's great for carpentry, but we don't do carpentry here, do we? We do woodworking. Carpentry, if you're plus or minus an eighth of an inch, you're good to go. Everybody do a cutting board if you're plus or minus an eighth. Are you okay? No, you're not. Okay, just to show you, these things are constantly hitting the floor. Once they hit the floor, they bend. They're no longer 90 degrees. Yes, they can be set back to where they are, whether you've got an acute angle or an obtuse angle. All you need is a hammer and a center punch, but not used for maintenance, and they can get it back in the square. But just to give an example with this, as you can see, I don't know if you can see it from here, you're out probably what might be at least 1 degree, maybe even 2 degrees. So you're using this carpenter square to set whatever you're doing at 90 degrees. You don't have 90 degrees. The plastic triangle is dead nuts on 100% of the time. When you drop this once, you drop it 100 times, it is never going to go out of square. This will with 1 drop. So my suggestion to you is do not use this to square up a Mitre gauge that you use, or to square your material. Always believe that every tool and any tool you go up to, it is not accurate when you face it. The bandsaw tables are not straight, the blade on the table saws are not straight, the table on the sanders are not straight. Always assume it's out of whack, and it will be out of whack, I guarantee you. How you get it back in whack? Table saw number 12. This tool sits right there, right underneath. Okay? You take this good square, use triangle. I think you had this experience with one of the sleds you made, Sal. You use the carpenter square, how to redo it.
Yeah.
Okay, and what you'll do is you'll take this, you'll loosen up the Allen screws right here. Make sure this is 90 degrees and snug them back up again. Even though this is set at 0, it is 0 once you get it set to 0. After that, it will be 0. Till the next person drops it and it goes out of whack. Again, now you know how to get it in whack. Another part to be careful of, and that's something Jim Beatty was mentioning. You put this in the slot, and we have all different kinds of equipment from all different manufacturers and all different parts of the world as well. Some stuff is made in the US, some stuff is made in Italy, some stuff is made in and who the hell knows where. Okay, so when you put this in the slot, there's no guarantee that this is going to be tight and snug. Okay, some of the good equipment, like the inkers, have an adjustment. And if you can see this bushing right here, take an Allen wrench, put it in there, and just snug it up, and it will take that little bushing and spread it out so that this now rides nice and tight in that slot. Because even though you may have this 90 degrees to the blade, but if they're slopping this, that's not 90 degrees anymore. It may be 89, it may be 89 and a half. It may not sound like much, half a degree, but if you're putting something together with 12 pieces and you're off by half a degree, when you're done, you're off by 6 degrees. You have a serious problem. Okay, next thing. Always dry run. You notice all these slots? You think this piece came with these? Dry run. What's a dry run? Well, put it in the slot and try it. Make sure that you clear the blade. Don't just say, okay, and just go ahead and cut. Randy, how much are these things?
More than I can afford.
Right. They're expensive. They're a couple of $100. So save yourself the effort. You're not going to damage the blade because these blades will cut aluminum just like wood, but you will damage a piece of equipment. So do a dry run. Make sure you clear the blade. Don't assume that, it looks okay. You know, your eyes are like my eyes. Don't trust it. Okay. Any questions so far?
Hey Jay,
Yes, sir.
How accurate are these sleds on the cable saw for 90 degrees?
Some of them are extremely accurate, some need some help. We were doing segmented bowl class a couple of weeks ago. One sled was dead nuts on, the other one I had to trim out with paper, with tape rather, because there was so much slopping. So after a while, these things do wear out because they get used a lot. And no matter how much you try to keep the track, I lubricate the tracks before I use it with some wax. I keep some candle wax in and I just run a little wax to help it slide easier. But even still, they do wear over time. So you may start out being accurate, but after a while it's not. And that's one of the reasons that the Ingra has adjustments on these to help you get it back to where it belongs. So do a dry run.
The biggest issue we have with sleds is people keep running.
Yep. Once you drop it, you got to go back to square one again.
Another thing on sleds, we are exploring, there are things like the anchor jig where you can tighten up the miter that goes in. We're looking at buying some of those and testing them out. And that allows us to at least adjust them if they get out of whack. Much what Jay and I went through with that segmented bowl sled, it was off quite a bit.
Yep.
We were experiencing where people weren't getting perfect segment circles or rings put together.
Yep. Okay. Yeah.
If you have something that isn't square, or isn't adjusted correctly, do not put it back on the floor. Because all you're doing is leaving the problem for somebody else.
Yeah.
Put it in the maintenance room,
Right.
and we'll take a look at it.
Yep.
You know what? We get too many times, bad tools get put back on the floor. Or, if you put it in the maintenance room, don't just put it in there without a note on it. But I don't know, I may not know what's wrong with it. We may not know.
Some are very obvious. I mean, if we have a cold drawer and the jaws are separated from the body, you know what to do with that. But when you take a square and put it in there, they don't know what the problem is. They have no idea. We have a left and a right. I know I don't need to say this, but the one that says right is made for the right side of the saw, and the one that's left is made for the left side. We have had people that have taken the one that's set up for right and cut it right in half because they put it on the wrong side of the saw. I know this stuff sounds like it's kind of silly, but this is the stuff that we go through, and we're trying to educate you so we don't constantly go through this and go through it again. Okay? In the tool room, there is yet another one. This is more precise than the others. This one you can adjust down to half a degree, and I'll show you how to do that. It's very simple. Loosen up this knob, loosen this one, make sure you're on your 0 degree mark, move the small piece over, and then just adjust it till your eyesight gets you the angle you want. Tighten it, and tighten it, you're good to go. But remember to set that 0 first. Because if you don't set the 0 first, your dimension might be accurate, your angle might be accurate from where you are, but where you are wasn't 0. Saw stop. We don't use the metal ones on the saw stop. Why? Because if you do this, see all these little cuts in here? You will not only be buying an inker for a couple of $100, you'll be buying a saw blade for a couple of $100, and the cartridge, I think, what's the cartridge, 69 bucks?
Yes.
So you'll be set back a couple of $300 to $400. So at this point, we're saving you the money and the downtime on the equipment by giving you a gauge to use on that tool that has wood so you will not have metal impact or touch the blade. Remember, you have to set this back to 0 again. You have to make sure that you're, to 90 degrees, that you're 90 degrees to the blade.
How does the miter set work with that particular fence?
It would work with this because this is really a short fence. It won't work with this because you only got about 6 inches here, and look how long this is.
Right. Because that miter set does a good job.
Yes, it does do a good job. It's very quick also. Okay, remember, any machine you approach is not accurate when you approach it. Make sure to spend the time setting it. That's number 1. Rule number 2, dry run it before you use it. It's not difficult, guys. We're not in any rush to go anywhere. Woodworking is not a race. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dick.